Hey everyone, it's Sally again, and welcome again to another beautiful episode of Magic Mike Moments. And today I'm very thrilled and excited to be interviewing Paul Valach in Arizona from PMV Productions. So welcome, Paul. Thanks for coming on.
Well, thank you, Miss Estlin.
Miss Sally will do you.
How you doing, Sally? How you doing, Sally? See, we're both here. We're all excited. This is my part-time assistant sometimes. Well, you're full-time assistant, I know. This is my Ariel. She will apparently be joining us because if I put her outside, we would hear her howling and stuff. So I may occasionally need to throw the toy to get her to retrieve it, but I don't know where she put it. So until she brings it up here,
it's beautiful.
That's the way it goes.
100%, 100%. And that's part of the beauty of working online. You can work from home and have the pats and the cuddles from your unconditionally loving animals. So anyway, let's just get into a little bit of a bio about you. So you're originally from Prague in Czechoslovakia, and then you and your family escaped during the, when was that? A long time ago?
Long time ago. We came here in 1964, 65.
Whoa, that's where I was born. Wow. And during the process,
youngster.
But during the process, your leg was broken. So what happened there?
My leg was always weak and all, and somehow when we were going through and we're spending night, my leg got lodged between, if I remember this right, I was a small child back then. I forget what you folks down in Australia would say I am. I was a lad. I was a young lad, small lad. And I think my leg just got dead and it broke. And so I got to spend some time in a Frankfurt, Germany hospital. Wow. And it was actually almost to the benefit, because when we drove back through Yugoslavia then, the thing was, they said, we need to get our son to the hospital as quickly as possible, which was kind of a head up north and make a right to Czechoslovakia at the time. And instead of making a right, we made a left to the German border. And that was that. And, those were the times in the middle of the Cold War and the Czechoslovakia was communist at the time. And so Dubček had not come around yet. Summer of 68 was still 3 years or 4 years away and all that. And I'm trying to say a few things of Czech history that I'm very bad at. It's sad.
But did you ever have you had ongoing issues with your leg since, just out of interest?
Yes. Yeah. So, the leg never quite grew my leg is shorter by a few inches.
Right.
Than that. So I limped along for a very long time, and then the pain was just a little bit more for the back and stuff. And somebody said, well, Paul, why don't you just have a lift on your shoe? You should have had a lift on your shoe 15 years ago, 20 years ago. And I said, yeah, I know. I just didn't. So, you put things off until they're painful enough to where you're going, all right, I need a solution. I need to stop being in pain. And so that was it. Now that I've had the lift, my left ankle rarely hurts to any extent like it used to. If it's cold, I like the snow. I like this, but me living in Chicago or Minnesota or any of those places where snow is abundant right now, that just wouldn't be for me. Colder climates and all, walking around would probably excite the ankle. It would remind me of that. So even moving to a colder country would be not a great thing. But in Arizona, we have Flagstaff, 90 minutes, 2 hours north. So if I'm going to go play in snow right now, I can go do that.
Ooh.
Or I can stay here and not have snow.
Well, you can come out here where it's really hot and humid. It's been amazing weather down here this week.
Yeah,
incredible.
Incredible. Well, it is. Australia, the land down under, is on my bucket list of sorts. It always has been an attraction. One of my favorite creatures on the planet is the koala bear, and so I always, the San Diego Zoo used to have koala bears there, and right when you walked in, and they would just be on their eucalyptus tree, and most of the time just kind of sleeping and that. So
in the tree outside this window, I can't turn it around, but there's a koala that lives in there all the time. And have you heard koalas mating? That sounds like wild boar. It's incredible, very noisy. It's mating season at the moment, so.
Oh, wow. You've never shared that. See, you should put a cam up there and.
Yeah, I have on socials, on Insta stories, but that's another thing which we'll get into. So then when you look at you, when you grew up, you're third generation educator. So your grandfather was a teaching surgeon. Your father was a professor. Your uncle was a maestro, as in music maestro.
Yes.
And your mother's a medical doctor. So a lot of education around you. So then you sort of fell into that path and
she has a medical degree. I should correct that because I'm going to send this to her and she could go, how could you tell him that I was a doctor? She was a doctor in Czechoslovakia, but when the transition with all the tests and things that you have to take when you redo that, she took a couple times or did some stuff, and then she decided that she wanted to spend more time with family things. So I have to correct you on that because I will get one of these from her saying, how could she say that I'm a doctor? So anyway, I need to make that correction. See, Mom, I'm listening to what you said. Okay.
Okay. And then you went on and you did a bachelor's in business and from ASU and an MBA in technology management from the University of Phoenix. So it's really interesting. You did your education, then you went down in the career path, setting up a computer lab. And you were head trainer for, the largest computer dealer, the Computer Guy for KPMG. And tell me a little bit about that.
Those years of the computer dealers are all gone now.
I was just I don't think era. Yeah.
I don't think there's any Computer Lands, Computer Pros, any of these, just the store with a bunch of computers in them.
Yeah.
They're all now called Best Buy with everything else in it, or Costco or whatever. But I worked for a community college, and I then went they said, well, you know how to teach, so you must know how to train. And so I trained. I was the head Macintosh person because I'm an Apple guy. And
I love you.
There you go. See, I'm scoring points. And so I was the head Mac trainer at Computerland. The Computerland that I worked for was actually owned by a corporation called DataPhase, and they were the largest Computerland dealer in the Southwest. I think they had, I want to say DataPhase had 9 stores at the time. Around Phoenix and the cities in there. And I think there was a store in Vegas, but I was the one in Phoenix, and I taught all the Macintosh classes. So when you bought a Mac and you wanted to learn PageMaker or you wanted to learn Word, I was the guy who had the class, or, they taught people how to use computers. I think that today, when you look at these Zoom meetings, you kind of realize that how people don't know their computer system. They don't know, right-clicking, copy, and then right-clicking and then paste is a foreign concept of copy paste, which is silly to say, but that they don't know the directory structures. They don't. And so, because today you buy a computer, it comes to you, and many times we make Jeff Bezos a whole lot richer, and he ships us a computer, and here you go. And now what? And there was no training, whereas Computerland at the time they said, look, you buy a system from us, we will give you a class on it. We will show you how Windows works. We will show you how Excel works. And there's a whole bunch of other apps that were on the PC side. And then, of course, on the Mac side, there was, the Microsoft Office, PageMaker, and just the general of, okay, what the hell is that? What the hell is a folder? And how does, and those were the days when the word hard drive was a foreign word.
Yeah.
Because they weren't around really back, in some of those times. It was like, well, okay, there's this external hard drive, but how? Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. Look, I just want to just add in there, like I started in probably the 80s in banking, finance and whatever. And then you talk a hard drive, it filled up a whole room. We started out with little floppy disks and microfiche and that sort of stuff. But I was going to say, back in the 90s, when computers came into like banking and whatever, we had in-house training. So you went and did courses to work on, I don't know, project and, whatever system that you
Probably
had.
Lotus 1, 2, 3 and
all that sort of stuff.
all that stuff. Yeah.
And the email systems, but we learned everything, and we learned all the short keys. And that's what I know today, because I learned it back then, like Control-C, Control-V, all that sort of stuff. And Mac was just a no-go zone. And we had Macs in the house, and it was foreign. It didn't talk to each other or anything. But these days, I don't think we utilize all the tech, the possibilities within, I don't know, like with the short keys, and because I don't know, like you say, right click and all that sort of stuff. And that's why I'm doing your courses and everybody else's courses, because I want to get the most out of my stuff. Like I was paid, $2,500 for my phone, but I just do the basics on it. But it does amazing stuff. Like you can create videos and all that sort of thing. So I'm doing these courses to learn, because as you say, you get it in a package and off you go. And in the old days, you got the package and they sat down with you, you did the 5-day courses, companies paid for you to do it. A lot more efficient, I reckon.
Well, and I'm looking, I don't have one. I saved one somewhere. They came, all the software came with these manuals that were this thick, and you were just saying, well, here's the manual. What do you want me to do with that? You start and you flip to it and this and back then the mouse really only had, there weren't 2 buttons. That was a relatively new thing that some came up with. And that oh, it's got 2 buttons. Oh, well, that's even more confusing now, or 3. And now, Misty complains about this. It's funny that I have an older iPhone, and it's got the Steve Jobs said, well, you only need 1, and that's the button. Well, now the new iPhones
doesn't have the button.
Don't have that button, and it is when you get it. When I got it, I was playing with it. I'm going, where's the button? I guess it knows and now it knows by the touch and everything. It's pretty extraordinary in that sense, the tech advancement and how
I think
stuff drops off.
100% technology is probably the fastest changing element that we have in our lives. My dad was looking at selling his house, and he said, I've got this all wired up Bose system and it's perfectly good and fine. And I said, Dad, Bose systems, like that's gone. And he said, but it's really good. And I said, yeah, but everything's changed with technology. It's the fastest changing element in your house. I said, the pool stuff, that's fine. That all works fine. But people want the latest and greatest. And it's so much easier with your little boxes, and you don't need it all hardwired in and stuff, which leads me into it's a bit of a question. So why don't you tell me a little bit about your journey from then, learning all of this stuff, training, and then how you've transitioned into social media, because it sort of links in with the change in times with technology and where it's changed your career path. I'd be really interested in some of the challenges that you've come across.
That's a deep, dark secret. I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can share that. That's the secret. That's you're asking me to lift the cover and saying,
it's
well, I accidentally tripped over this, and here I am. What else do you want to know? It's funny. I don't know. Everything is kind of you're exposed to it.
Right.
Because I was kind of like, well, what is this social media? Because I would train people how to create a newsletter in PageMaker, or I would do this. And then somebody said, well, I think we all had AOL at one time. And, and speaking of making someone rich, Steve Case was making about $100. So this is fascinating. $100 a month from many of us.
Yeah. And,
you got your 5 free hours, which was nothing. It was because it was for the thing. And you're going, shit, I'm already on 7 thing. And it was like $10 an hour or something afterwards, or $6.99 or some. So today, if you told somebody that they're going to pay $7 an hour to use the internet, they think you were the craziest person in the world. Yeah. And well, okay, does that, I think the main question would be, okay, so that does include porn, right? Or is that, or I do get like a bottle of tequila at the end, or there is something, right? I'm not just giving you $7 to Google stuff.
Yeah.
That's what we did. And there was no Google. And so you were in this environment, rooms, and so
remember internet cafes were really big.
Yeah,
same
and
thing.
that's where you logged on to AOL too. So not only we're paying Steve Case money to join his little group thing, but if you wanted to get online, many people didn't have a connection, because back then it was 300 baud and 600 baud, and that was speeding. And if you really could, you bought a 1200 baud modem. I don't even know how to translate baud anymore. I mean, just think of your worst, slowest experience you've ever had.
So frustrating.
And it was slower. But you had to upgrade it. If you want, there were 3 different modems. It wasn't like you could make a switch. Now, obviously, the 1200 baud modem could go at a slower speed, because some of the networks would say, I'm sorry, our networks only run at 600 baud. So you may have a 1200 baud, or there might have been a 2400 at one point, but I'm sorry, we just have 600. So anyway, so you got exposed to AOL, and you got the chat rooms and everything. And then, and then the internet kind of started. And Netscape came about, and you're kind of going, well, what do you mean Netscape? Well, that's the browser. Okay. And you write, you type the URL in. So, and back then you had to do a whole HTTP. Okay. Is it colon? Wait, is it /
/
colon? There's, you had to type that in. You couldn't just put www. Today, you don't even have to put www. You just put in pmvproductions.com. There's my shameless plug. And, you put it in. You put in CNN.com, and you go to CNN. And that, so people started to buy up the domain names, and, Netscape was the premier one. I'm trying to remember what it was called before. And then, Microsoft, the evil, as I like to call them, the evil empire, sorry, Bill, came up with Explorer. And those were the 2 big things. And the question was, Netscape finally said, we need to charge for Netscape. So if you want the better version, you pay us, otherwise you don't. And you're going, well, wait a minute. When I always like to say it this way, when Al Gore invented the internet, they said Netscape would free, that all this stuff would be free. And so why am I paying for Netscape? So, so those things started to come about, and you started to learn that. And short, then you got the various emails. Hotmail was the big one. Everybody got a Hotmail address. And there was another, Rocket Mail also came about. And so I always thought, all right, I got to get my name. So anytime a new one of these services came out, I just got Paul Valach. I just said, I don't know why, I'm just going to get it. And so you started playing around in that. And so eventually some of these other things started, like Twitter all of a sudden appeared. This guy I knew, he said, well, are you on Twitter? No. And plus I don't know anybody. Well, get an account. Okay. So I got Paul Valach. And, you're all excited, and and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, the only people that are going to see my tweet are the ones that are following me. Well, nobody knows I have the damn thing. So, so your friends, okay, 7 people know I tweeted, yay, whatever, or it was stupid. And next thing, and eventually all of a sudden it exploded. And people were in the chat rooms and stuff. So the difference, I think, at some point was, am I paying to get access, or is it free? And you're always kind of opting for the free stuff. And eventually, and I'm trying to remember how I just learned about Facebook. Just somebody said, well, Facebook is the new Twitter, or is the new, they have different, well, no, I'm sorry. Who was, what was it? What were they called? I think I still have an account with them. The big first social network. Very first one, I'm trying to remember. At MySpace.
MySpace, and it lasted 5 seconds. That one, Yes,
MySpace. Everybody said you need a MySpace account, so you got on MySpace, you posted the stickers and all and everything, and you started cajoling with people. And so that was kind of your craziness of, a great waste of time.
Yeah.
But people put in flashing things, and it too evolved of what you could put on videos and stuff. And then somebody said, no, we need a better thing. And that's how Facebook started. And so all of this stuff kind of started to evolve. And eventually it was, okay, well, our business is going to be on there. And so you got these places where you wanted to be.
Yeah.
The picture, the biggest problem that I had at the time was I'm a photographer also. And it's like, where do I put my photos so other people can see them? And so Flickr showed up.
Yeah.
And I think many of us still have a Flickr account, but again, they changed their business model. But it was a way of sharing pictures.
Yeah.
So a lot of this was, I want to share my content and my stuff. So, and a number of other services at the time were open. And so, you just got on them. Yeah. And then eventually it was is your business on there, and can your business be on there? I think that was one of the bigger questions, was some of these places were not business friendly.
Yeah. Yeah.
It wasn't for a business. And so I think LinkedIn, and there was one before LinkedIn, and I don't remember the name of it, that was for professional. He says, well, this eliminates all the BS that goes on MySpace or Twitter or Facebook. And so, so I think it was, I want to say it was kind of almost by accident. Mm-hmm. Somebody said, well, do you know how this works? Do you know? Yes, I understand this. And if it was like with Twitter, I said, look, if you tweet 3-4 times a day, spread it out, you'll get some response. The main thing is, if somebody tweets a question to you, you got to answer, and you got to answer within an hour or two, because otherwise somebody else is going to answer, because they're going to see it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think, with your background in education, and then you sort of, as you said, sort of morphed into this social media thing with your hunger for thirst for learning to promoting your business. And as you just touched on before, people may not know that you're also an accomplished photographer, and you've shot over 100,000 shots. And you're also in TV, and you was it a TV show you were on for 5 years, or ran a TV show and had 250 episodes? And you've interviewed some amazing people, senators, members of Congress, governors, actors, celebrities. So you've done a lot. And then I think you've just followed the path where you were being led, and with this thirst for knowledge and understanding, and how you can grow your business and adapt with the changing times, particularly with the technology advancements, particularly where you had these free platforms where you could leverage without having to keep dipping into your back pocket. You were always looking for the different angles, like you explorer man, right? And amazing. So tell me a little bit about when you were in that sort of TV world and what you were doing there.
Well, so I'm also insane. You might know that. You might notice that. I might be exposed a few times. I got politically involved and even ran for office and did stuff.
Oh, wow.
But there's a group of us so public access. It's free. It's supposed to be. It's free TV, and in the U.S., every neighborhood or every city is supposed to have 3 channels that they offer to the public.
Right.
That should be free. One of them is education. One of them, I think, is the government channel, and there's one that's just open channel. If Sally Eston wants to go have a TV show, she can have one. You just need to provide, and the rule was you have to provide the content. You have to provide the people to run the cameras. You have to learn the switchboard, which runs the board that runs the cameras. And so we did that as the party. And we would go film every Friday, and we got pretty good at it because we could do 2 one-hour shows in a 3-hour time period. Because we would simply start, and we would just talk, and we would talk back and forth if guests were coming in. So it'd be almost like your newscast.
Yeah, right.
And people would just be filling in and out. You'd know, just talk here, this stuff gonna be going around, ignore it. And so I became one of the co-hosts. And through that process, we also filmed a few interviews. So whenever there was a convention, whenever there was a speaker at our breakfast thing, at the luncheon, whatever, this, that, and we just got to, people say, hey, we have a TV show and we're going to have someone interview. So it'll either be Paul or Celeste or somebody else. And we got to ask questions. And, the main thing we did, because anytime I went and asked people, hey, can I interview you? Because we went to, I said, look, we're on your side. Because we only ask the people really that were on our side. We're not there to get you. I just look, Senator, I want to know what you want the world to know. So I'll ask you a few questions, this and this, just like you're asking me. But, before this, you would say, hey, Paul, is there any one specific topic you want to cover? And if there was a big major bill coming up or there was spending going in the right way, I said, look, I don't care what questions I ask you. I don't want to use this as pure propaganda. Yeah. It'll look like no. And so in that sense, and then we would, I'm looking at the thing. I mean, Ted Danson from Cheers was at some event. And so we got to talk with Ted, and he goes, look, I don't want to talk TV. I'm here for these issues here, and let's talk about those. One of my favorite interviews was with Ed, recently passed away, Ed Asner. And it was a fun, we just met him in the lobby, and I was wearing a tie, and he made fun of my tie. He goes, you dressed up. It was just, and I tell you, Sally, the main thing that people should know, all of these people that we see on TV, and they're all very prim and you get them in the back room. Yeah. You get them before all of a sudden, they're like you and I, and they normal people. They tell the same jokes. They do this, that, and you agree to disagree. On against the loyal opposition. But for the most part, at least that's the way it was. I don't know. I don't think it's that way anymore, which is sad. But so that's how I got to many of those. I then had my own TV show that I produced and directed. It was a legal show. And I found so I went to the hockey arena. We just opened up our hockey arena. This was 20 years ago, maybe 18 years ago, something like that.
All in Arizona.
In Arizona. Yep. The Coyotes, they opened up their arena. And I went to the opening because I knew the gals that were their cheerleaders or did stuff. And I knew a couple of them who worked at one of the radio stations, actually, that I had some stuff, a radio show. And I saw this girl running around with a mic, and she looked very professional. And I said, one of the people that we interviewed on the political show was a judge in Phoenix, because we talked about legal issues. Mm-hmm. And he wanted to do a legal issues show. So he said, Paul, put it together. So I'm thinking, that's my hostess. And so I approached her, and she said, are you serious? Is this a joke? And turns out she was a criminal justice major at the time, graduating from ASU. Just these little pieces all came. How did we build the stage, again, was another story. So we had like a three episode legal show we filmed at the studio there. It was fun. We unfortunately the studio went away. The city kind of backed out on some promises and stuff, and so there is no public access, which is sad in the sense that you can't view it on your cable network. But today, all of those cameras, all of those lights, all of that stuff is replaceable with these things right here.
100%.
These two items.
Yeah.
There's a stage in Phoenix. I'm trying to remember. They have a stage, and they have literally 6 iPhones up above.
Wow.
They have some lighting. They have a control panel. And so when the guy's strumming his guitar or they can switch in between them. And, this is it right here.
It's incredible. I've done a course because I was doing iMovie on the laptop, and that was tricky. I just did it on my phone. It was a 3-day course, and put movies together, and it's really good quality. And my friends got the latest iPhone. The quality of the videos and the pictures, it's through the roof. So I just love how your journey's been really colorful and really interesting. So that's led us up to today. And I met you through networking and have been doing some work with you with Google My Business, and also just recently started your Insta or social media classes that you're running. So what are you into today? This has all led you now into really mainly around social media, or what's your sort of focus?
Well, I like to, I shouldn't admit this, but since I said it in so many times everywhere, I tend to sometimes be the cobbler's kid's shoes. I don't know if you're familiar with that term.
Yeah.
That, the cobbler fixes everybody's shoes, but his kids are walking around in socks.
We've had discussions about this before,
with holes in them. And so, and I heard somebody today, I was on a seminar of someone who puts on events. And she actually went through, I got a whole bunch of cool things. In fact, a couple of spreadsheets she was showing us. I'm going to share or show people what else you can do with Google Docs or Sheets, because most people think of a spreadsheet as, well, it just adds numbers or does that. No, it can do a whole lot more. But that's for one of the classes that you'll be in. But it's a, she said, look, I like to put on events and I like to tell people how to do this and this. I'm a horrible this, even though I tell you exactly what to do. So I'm one of these people that says, well, look, you need to set up a schedule. You need to do this. You need to post every other day. You need to have a topic. You need to have, the two topics. One subject is kind of a more focused one. And then there's the infamous word evergreen, which is just, the same thing. It just talks about your company over and over. And then people say, well, can we see yours? And it's like, gee, Sally, how long is this still going to go? I'm sorry. I forgot that I have a meeting here in 3 minutes. So, hey, thanks everybody for viewing. Got to go now.
Oh, Paul, you're hilarious. Your goal this year is to walk your talk, right? You have to.
Yeah, so this is to walk the talk. And, and the other is, and this came to mind during the talk, is it's so easy to say, look, I should be on TikTok. I should have a YouTube channel.
Oh my God.
I should have a, Snapchat. I should have a podcast. Well, isn't the YouTube a podcast? Well, it can be, but podcasts can also be without video. And you should be on Google business page. You should have a website. You should have at least Instagram or LinkedIn. And it's so easy to spread yourself very thin.
100%. It's overwhelming, right? So you got to work smart. Yeah.
And that's why, that's why you need some form of management of it. You need to create that posting calendar.
Yeah.
And maybe, some people say, look, I'm just not good at this. I can give you the content. I can give you my ideas, my thoughts, or this or this. I just don't know how to post it, or I just don't want to log in, and so forth. So fine. So hire somebody.
Exactly.
Because we'll do that for people.
Yeah.
But you still need to get the content. Now, the good news on content is there's tons of content out there. Put whatever it is, Google your content, and you're going to see, holy crap, there's a lot of stuff here.
Yeah.
So it may be sifting through it. It may be, what do I want to tell people? And I think that one of the biggest questions that I always start with any new client is, okay, so Sally, tell me, what business are you in?
And
so if somebody asks you that, what business are you in?
Oh, yeah. Oh, for me, it's holistic fitness, right? So,
okay. What does that mean?
It means that I get you fitter on your mind, body, and soul. So I look at the whole person and work out where they need to shift and lift to let go of stuff holding them back, right? Simple.
So your business is the second part, because the first part, you said the physically fit. What does that mean? Does that mean I get to do this? Or are you going to make me run 10 miles and drop at 9? Or it's very, very, because people say, well, I'm an accountant.
Yeah.
Okay. I do accounting. Okay. No, you make sure that when the IRS calls, that you can show people, here's the books that show where I am, or they can present my numbers to whoever asks, whether it's a loan officer or the IRS or whoever. And it's not just, you need to define, people need to define a thing. And some people don't know. They say, well, I don't know. I sell food.
Yeah. But from my perspective, it's a label that therefore draws you in to inquire further. But what I was going to say, just getting back to the other thing about this whole overwhelm with, we can be on this platform or that platform or that platform. I'm a huge advocate, focus on the 10% you're good at and outsource the 90% you're not. So in this day and age, you need to, we're not given the manual. We need to go to classes or go to the people that can help us, particularly in social media, because you're experts at it. You've done all the research. You understand what works, what doesn't, or what works for you. And I think in my personal case, for the past 5 years, I've been doing all this delving down social media and trying everything. And at the end of the day, it's what resonates or sits well with me that I've done. It might not be like, don't even talk to me about TikTok. It's cringe factor for my kids. So I don't do that sort of stuff. I've got to look at my audience and what I'm trying to do.
but don't laugh. Okay, don't laugh, because TikTok, let me tell you, TikTok, between ages of 30 and 50, some of those people are killing it. Because they're giving tips and stuff. They're giving tips to people like you who are coming, go, wait a minute, this woman is giving me tips on how to eat healthier. This woman is teaching me how to do finance. Yeah. And as I say women, because there's a number of women who have great TikTok channels, but TikTok's not just for the 19 and 20-year-old crazy thing. It's for, I'm going to say, it's for adults.
Well, this is why people like myself need people like you, because like I'm mid-50s and it's like overwhelming, and I've spent 5 years just getting my head around Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, and now we've got to add in Snapchat, we've got to add in TikTok, or look at all these new things coming out, and I can't keep up with it, and plus doing your everyday work. Now, this leads me into my next question. So what do you think is your superpower? What is your magic? Why are people drawn to you specifically? What's your thing?
I knew you were going to ask this. I should have written down some crib notes here. Is what, I've always been told that people like me, that I'm very, that I listen, and that I just kind of try to understand where people are coming from, what it is that they're having a difficulty with. And so that's one of my, I think that, that I listen, I'm told that I'm a kind person. I believe I'm a kind person. I like to help people out. I probably get a lot of that also from the fact that I like animals. Yeah. And that, it's almost funny. I would almost rather help a dog and a cat than a person sometimes, because they're going to show you their love back and appreciation, whereas sometimes you don't get that from people. So that's that. And, I think that it's just my natural tendency to see where I can help out, or what I can do. And I think sometimes I do that to a detriment.
I was just about to say,
that I give away too much. And I know we talk about that in Misty's classes and stuff, is if you do that, that was one of the things in the events she was going through this and how you structure this. And we all said, well, if you do this for 2 hours of sharing the content, there's nothing left. What am I going to do for the other 6? And she goes, well, no, I kind of maybe said it wrong. You break it up a little bit, but I have a tendency to tell people everything. And somebody finally said, Paul, if you're going to do that, you need to charge for this. You need to charge us for this. And so, I tend to give away a lot of things. And I think I may get that from teaching at the community college for 15 years, where you were just paid to teach the class. Yeah. And, my goal was always, when I taught Microsoft Word, I always used to kid with them. I said, okay, we're going to do Word in here in about an hour class, hour and a half, whatever it is, one class. And my goal was, I'm going to help you get an A in English. Because I always used to kid, all of you came installed with Word, but you don't know how to create a footnote. You don't know what an end note is. None of you know how to create a bibliography. you need the title, you need the spacing and all of this, which the English teachers are the only ones who care about that. And so we need to learn how to use Word to do that. And then I would explain how Word works, the method of it, said it's really simple. It's 8 things that make each other up, and that's the way it works. And that's it. There you go. And now you can get an A in English.
And that would just lead into, having worked a little bit with you and got to know you a bit over the past year, from my point of view, your superpower is, 1, you're patient. The second one is that you listen. And the third one is that you care. And I think they're 3 very big, strong qualities of yours. You're very patient, because seriously, it's overloaded technology. It's just like, oh my God, old dog, new tricks. It's hard. And you just listen to what my issues are. And, you're not trying to interrupt all the time. And you actually care. You're devoted and really passionate about, helping people. And, you're a very heart-based person and so much of a giver. And I think you've taken on, as you just said, all that teaching into teaching others. But before, it used to be your job, and now we've got to get you across that line, incorporating it in a more business sense for you, because it's time, right? Because with everything around online, it's really time for us to get some help, everybody on every level, because it's like we don't get the manuals anymore. All these extra features we could be taking advantage of, like Google Pages and, find Google My Business and doing the website and doing your blog feed and all this stuff, which is simple when you know about it, but when you don't know about it, you can't do it. Look at what Misty's just been doing with, her Facebook stories, and then linking it into websites, Google websites. So it's fantastic.
And, and I often wonder, because people say, well, I have a couple of people I knew, a couple of friends that said, well, I don't do any of this social media. My business has been around it's a family business. We've been around for 30 years, 40 years, my father. I sell shower doors, and I sell 20 shower doors every week, and we go install them. And I said, I don't know if I would sell 25 or 30. And in some ways, if I sold 30, I'd have a problem. I can't install 30 shower doors in a week. It's, so I've had other people say, well, our business has survived just fine. And you look around other people as you're driving to work, or you're driving here, there, and you see some people there, and you're kind of, sometimes you go, how does my website impact anybody over there?
Yeah.
And it doesn't, and so I think it's the people that are requesting it, that are wanting it.
Yeah.
And getting it out, that's kind of the stuff that maybe keeps me up at night, or I ponder on sometimes a little too much.
Yeah.
Are you reaching the right people?
Yeah, well, what about, this is where Google search is so important, right? Because this whole global thing, and particularly since the pandemic, there's limited supplies of stuff. So you got to sort of shop around. And so if you're out there and you're Googling it, you come up on the search, that's a big thing. And then you can go to the website. But, it's finding you first, and then knowing about you, or, what your products and services are. So,
go ahead.
No, go.
No, I was going to say, and then one of my assignments that I like giving people, and I'm wondering, have you Googled yourself?
I love that. It's hilarious.
Have you Googled yourself? Because you find stuff that you're going, holy shit, I did that 20 years ago. How the hell do they know this?
Exactly.
And you're just shocked sometimes. You're going, oh crap, I forgot about that.
It's embarrassing, right?
Yeah, it is. Well, I tell you that's something that I like about Facebook.
Yeah.
Is I get these 9 years ago, all of a sudden you'll get this in your history, and it says 3 years ago, 5 years ago, and they kind of do these posts that you made 8 years ago today.
Memories.
And tomorrow they'll do another one and all this. So sometimes you get reminded of good events, and you're going, oh yeah, that was fun. Oh yeah. Oh shit.
Yeah. Bad haircuts, bad boyfriends, whatever it was.
Yeah.
So that leads me into my next question. With everything that we've discussed today, what do you think is the biggest issue facing your clients?
Well, that's changed drastically.
Yeah.
In the last year, 2 years.
Oh, really?
And you guys have got, from what I followed, I think Australia probably handled the pandemic better than most. And I know you don't
Not
like
if you
the
live in
hearing this.
Melbourne.
I know you don't like hearing this. Well, the ones that really handled it most was the guy underneath you, New Zealand,
Yeah,
because they just simply said, "That's it.
yeah.
Close the borders. People go home,
That
and
was a
we'll
chick.
see you. We'll see you in 2 months,
Yeah,
3 months. Go home."
yeah.
And that's it. And they were able to contain that. Australia, I think, was the second one where you were allowed to travel 5 kilometers or whatever it is. And
It was the longest lockdown city in the world. So it's just,
yeah,
oh,
you
so
know,
you think linking
so
in,
that was it. But there was no interaction, no between people.
yeah.
And even here in Arizona, we had bars that were closed. People went berserk. You couldn't go to the bar. You couldn't get your hair cut. The biggest bitch was that I can't go to the gym to work out. Gee, sorry, I'm the guy that, what's a gym?
That's my passion. Don't talk to me like that. That's
sorry. See, I got Sally. Sally can yell at me and she can go, well, go get this, and this, and you're going to do this at home or something.
10 push-ups now.
That's it. There you go. All right, time out. And that's so, but they were locked down. And so one of the things that I said is, look, new businesses is getting your old customer back, I think is the biggest challenge, because many places your old customer thinks you're gone, you're dead, you're out of business.
Yeah.
And those are the people that will give you money because they gave you money before. They're happy with you and they just don't know you're open. So I think today's biggest challenge is letting people know that we are open for business and that now there really are no closures anymore in the US. There's a few places that are considering it, but every governor is shaking in their boot saying, man, the last thing I need to do is shut things down. Well, we're arguing about education, whether kids should wear masks or not, or whether, this, and it's getting your head around that. That's the topic. And I think for businesses, it's really letting people know we're open. We want your business. And here you go. And so now, coupled with that, is the costs have gone up. And a lot of people are still looking for work. They're still looking for income. They haven't had income. And so being able to afford that. And, there's my favorite topic in the world, economics. There's some of those little factors going in of, well, why are we raising prices? And everybody likes the word that inflation. And you're going, well, isn't that if you stop raising the damn prices and, and that, but I think a lot of people have gotten greedy. I think a lot of people are trying to make up. Hey, I need to make $100,000 so that I can say that's my $100,000 from last year. And now I'm going to make my $100,000 this year. So I got to make $200,000, which means I got to double my prices. What kind of nonsense is that?
I know. Good luck. It's challenging times, right? Totally challenging.
So those are kind of intertwined. Yeah. And, and everybody likes to blame the other person and so forth, and gas prices are going up and all this other things. And, and you don't get used to it because I still don't go anywhere.
Yep.
For me, I don't go to bars really. I don't go to, I used to go once a week to play a little poker. I haven't done that in 6 weeks, 8 weeks.
Yep.
And I don't,
COVID has changed people, right? It's given them an opportunity to stop, review their life and reset it and really see what's important. And really, I feel at the end of the day, it's having some meaning in your life, meaning and purpose, having some fun, super important, and having some happiness, right? So whatever that means. And for you and I, we've really got into the networking groups and found lots of friends that way. So my tribe has changed a lot and it's become a lot. My community is more online than it's in person for sure. And I've relocated. So I'm a lot more isolated from the everyday interactions, not in my gym groups that I was in, built my own gym, but sorry, what were you going to say?
Well, I was going to say, so I'm just a little more drastic than you. I'm a little more drastic than you in that, because you're right. All the friends that I would meet with, and I'm trying to get back into the monthly meeting with the networking thing. And I remember I went 2 months ago and I saw all these people and I started talking with them, we were masses, and I'm sitting there going, I don't like this. I'm not
Yeah.
sure and that was like, I'm not sure I liked it before now, but I think my friends list and all of this and my new friends, I think mine are a little bit farther away. Because I tell you, I tell people, I said, look, this is going to sound really strange, but I would say 80%, maybe 90% of my business is in Australia. Yeah, that place that's 12 hours away on a plane. I don't know how many thousands of miles it is, but that's where all my customers are. That's where my new friends or people that I talk with are. I don't talk with anybody here in Arizona. Very few people.
It's a blessing out of COVID, right? There's so many positives, and it's this whole online world, like how we started this conversation. Everything's morphed into, technology has advanced so much that we can work like this, and it's seamless. Like, what time is it there? It's 2:00 here, so I don't know what's 2 months.
It's almost 8.
8:00 at night, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It works,
right?
So, just moving forward, like down the track, a number of years down the track, how would you like to be remembered? What sort of legacy would you like to leave for yourself?
Did you attend one of my classes somewhere that I didn't hear?
No.
That's one of my I have a website. I have a website that, again, one of my planned things of to do, right? Is what will your be.com.
Right. I like that.
And I went to, it was really kind of a bizarre event of sorts. It was a 3-day event. These guys were all on stage. There's an auditorium, and guys just took turns. Each one told a story, I would say about 90 minutes or so.
Yep.
Okay, I kid you not. I would say that half of them were past felons of some level. Half of them had lost their homes or did that. I would say that 80% of them had tattoos. Mm-hmm. And just, but they were all very contrite and very just telling their story. Mm-hmm. And a lot of them said, look, I was a bad person, but now I'm trying to help this. I'm trying to help that. There were some help books and all of this, but their big thing was what you asked. I just wanted to leave. When I left, I wanted people to say good things about me, or I wanted to leave a mark that I helped open that. I helped launch that or this. And it isn't necessarily for self-gratification. I just don't want to be that I did nothing.
Yep.
So I think that for my legacy for that is I'd like to have people say, look, I took some of his classes and they helped me take the next step. Yeah. Or, I remember Paul's class that he talked about this and that helped launch this or helped me remember that. Or I remember I was in this mall way back when malls were open, and this guy walked by and he goes, "Are you Paul Valach?" I said, maybe. He goes, "Well, I was a student of yours." I said, "Oh, okay." And I'm looking at it. I'm trying to remember which year. And he goes, "Yeah, I just thought I'd say hi and just say I really enjoyed your class, and you helped." At a time, because a lot of these kids, the kids I had in were 19 and 20 years old. Yeah. And they just had, not a lot of direction. They were thrown into this community thing because their goal was to pass my class, pass the other classes, and then go to ASU, Arizona State University. And so, so you help that process along. Yeah. And, it's interesting, the various students, I remember one or two classes. I remember one distinctively, because I would always, at the end of the class, I decided I needed to give them a Life 101 lecture. Yeah. And I would do that at the end of every class. Well, this one, I said, all right, I'm going to do this at halftime. It was spring break. I'm going to do this at halftime because I think you guys need to hear this. Now, the rule is that if you don't come back after spring break, if half of you are gone, the other half of us are going to go hunt you down. Drag you back here. So no disappearing. And if you go create something for $1 million, we expect to be included in it. Yeah. But they were just a really gifted class. They understood concepts. They that. But part of mine was that you got to be ready for life. You got to have your resume ready, because today profits drop by 1/4 of 1%, and you're being laid off.
Yeah. Oh,
And
100%. Oh, it's
you know,
time.
and you need a resume. You need something ready that you can say, all right, well, here you go.
Yeah.
You need to build a good loyalship of friends
Yep.
and, you know, people that are going to stand by you and so forth. And, you know, I kind of said, look, you know, a lot of people say, well, that's my husband or my wife. And it's like, yeah, well, I've got a friend who's on their third. So would you like that? Would you like to talk to them? And sometimes it's stupid stuff that breaks people up.
Yeah.
It's not the normal stuff that gets in the way, or people get bored of it. So finding a good team, maintaining relationships, always, you know, do that. Those were just kind of my lists. I haven't done that list in a long time. And just that. So when I finished that and I dismissed it, and it was like the class said, gee, thanks for cheering us up. I mean, as I said, I'm sorry, these are facts that, you know, but the reality is that all of you are learning. So after everybody left, this one guy came up, he was a little older, and he goes, I'm sure glad you did that, because nobody else is going to do that for him in this place.
Yeah.
Because you're the first one that actually laid it online. And he goes, you're right. There were things that you said that they just needed to hear, you know.
That comes back to what I was saying before, because you care, right? You care.
Yeah.
And that's where you're taking your experience, wisdom and knowledge and trying to help these people as they're guiding their own way through life. So yeah, fascinating. Well, Paul.
Well, the PMV, so the company before PMV Productions or Mac West started because I worked for a Big 8 accounting firm.
Right.
Nobody gets laid off or fired from a Big 8 accounting firm. Well, when I was with them, I was going to be their IT guy. This, and about 3 months, very short time, all the savings and loans went out of business, and that was half their clients.
Yeah.
And they finally just said, Paul, we had you supporting 9 managers or 10 managers. We're down to 5. We don't need you. Sorry, we shouldn't have hired you. We should have known better. You know, I worked for the largest computer dealer, being their trainer and all the training. They just took it away. And we were all going, why are you removing us? We're the reason that you're still in business. When they come into our class, they ask, what else do we need? And we say, well, you need this, you need this, you need this. This will help you build this up. And then they go buy it. Well, so, you know, so after a while I said, well, I can lay myself off too. And, you know, and if I lay myself off, I just say, well, just take the afternoon off and go play golf and just start again tomorrow. So, you know, but that's,
yeah.
That's the,
like I just have loved these conversations today because it's gone down lots of rabbit holes, really fascinating stuff, because you're a fascinating person with a very big heart, and I've been very blessed to get to know you. So how can people get in touch with you and go to your website? What's the best way?
So the best way is to go to the pmvproductions.com. That's the website. And Paul at PMV Productions. I am also on Instagram under the name Paul Valach, and I'm also on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn, Instagram, or the website. Probably LinkedIn is the preferred way. Find me, you know. Just ask for that, and then send an email or visit the H&Ps and Misties down under. I'm hanging out there somewhere.
Well, you're also a co-host of Happy Neighborhood.
Co-host of Arizona, right? Which is on 10 a.m. Wednesdays now, Mountain Standard Time, MST time, and Arizona does not move their clocks, so
right.
We know what time it is. 365 days a year.
That's amazing. Well, Paul, thank you so much for coming on today. I've really enjoyed
thanks for having me.
Getting to know you better. I'll put the contacts in at the bottom of this when we post it, and I look forward to working with you further and growing my awareness and understanding and actioning some stuff in my social media, because you've really helped me get there, keeping it simple for me, because it can get overwhelming. Anyway, thank you once again for coming on. Such an awesome person, and can't wait to meet you when you finally get down here.
Thank you. Well, I thank you for having me. Thank you for inviting me. I am looking forward to my trip. I have to figure out how to get my critters to come with me. I don't know how that'll all work, but
you can get them. Oh, actually, they take a while to get here. It's easier to get them out than to bring them in. So yes, you might have to either get a year-long nanny or something and bring yourself out, because it's going to take you that long to get around everyone that you've met out here.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah,
let's
great.
work it
Yeah,
out.
she's Ariel's not here right now. She's in the next room, so good thing. She's not going to hear that going,
No,
what?
she get very upset. Yeah. Anyway, I'll let you go because I know you've got another event on now. And thanks again, and we'll chat again soon. See you later.
Hey, thank you for having me. I look forward to seeing your creations.
Bye.